Melissa. Boy, I'm such an idiot. I can only think of myself. I really am an immature kid, aren't I? I really ought to apologize. Wow, what's keeping her? Is she still talking with Alex? Maybe I'll go check over at General Headquarters.
It's a pleasure to be addressed at such length by you, Princess. However, that last part concerns me somewhat. I'm told that he's lost his memory, but that simply makes him a person of unknown background. Is it wise to allow him into the army?
Juto hasn't caused any trouble. He's simply an ordinary young man who is mourning the loss of his close friend. Plus, Juto's intense anger towards Elgar almost drove him to recklessly travel north to try and exact revenge. I believe that it was ignorance of the realities of war that drove him to such an extreme notion. For that reason, I determined that it would be best if he fought in the Southern forces. I believed that if he experienced real war, he would see how reckless he was being. Besides, it is my responsibility that Juto was about to make such a rash and potentially fatal decision.
You seem to have taken a fancy to him. I believe I may be a little jealous.
Stop joking around, Alex.
Personally, I'm not inclined to authorize it. However, I have a soft spot for favors from you. Anyway, they say that he defeated the Guardian, so perhaps he is more useful than he appears.
Thank you. I'll be going then.
Far be it from me to play give and take. I've done as you've asked, so perhaps you might be more forthcoming in showing your appreciation. Nothing would make me happier.
I am sufficiently grateful to you, Alex. If that isn't enough for you, perhaps I should get down on bended knee?
You wound me. That's quite all right.
Please excuse me.
Impudent little girl. You're nothing but a... I'll be the one who gets the last laugh. This war will end in victory. For me.
Juto, what are you doing here?
I can't believe you have to bow and scrape to Alex because of me. If that's what it costs to join the Southern forces, then forget it.
You were eavesdropping.
I really didn't mean to... It's just that I never wanted you to have to kiss up to anyone because of me. You shouldn't have to do it.
I'm a leader, Juto. It's only natural that I look out for my men. It's nothing that you need to worry about. What brought you here?
Actually, I was planning to apologize. I said some terrible things to you, without knowing anything about the position you're in.
There's no need to apologize. When it's all said and done, I was the one who got you mixed up in this war.
Yeah, but it was my decision to join the army.
If you'd known I'd have to bow and scrape to Alex, you never would have joined the army?
That's not...
I'm sorry. Please pretend you didn't hear that. I'm criticizing you, even though I'm in no position to. Let's go back to the barracks. There'll be another battle soon enough.
We talked, but our words accomplished nothing. In the end, only silence remained. I didn't know just how great a burden she carried, or how grave a responsibility being a princess was.
Any luck?
What an unusual case. There doesn't appear to be any common rejection. Still, what brought this on? You're suddenly interested in taking a ped for a pet.
Perhaps. Let's just leave it at that. But if I'm making it a pet, I want it to be clever.
With a comment of this grade, the subject is sure to be enhanced even more than the last one.
I look forward to it.
We've received 2 missions from Commander Raud.
But we just cleared out those werewolves. I mean, are we the only unit in the Southern Forces? And seriously, 2 missions?
Even our own unit is shorthanded due to the preparations for the operation in Oldfox Canyon. Our first mission is to search out and eliminate a group of Lapper variants that are moving towards the port.
Lappers? You mean those weak things that you could find on Highwind Island shore?
Right, but this variant can't be defeated unless you completely break its shell. And their shells are so tough that they won't be easy to break.
Is it just me, or do they always seem to stick us with the tough missions?
You can break this variant shell with the Axe signature technique, Armor Break. The axes have been left with the soldiers at the city gates. Before we leave the city, don't forget to pick one up.
What a hassle. So, what's the other one?
Go to Abazet Port and bring back some bombs. Apparently they're to be used in the battle at Oldfox Canyon.
Sheesh, they're working us like dogs.
There is a settlement of the Nekoneko people near the port. They've been helping the Southern Forces. Cargo meant for the Southern Forces is being kept there. So, we should be able to get all the bombs we need there too. Speaking of which, I heard that the Nekonekos are in the middle of fierce territorial battles among their own kind. Is that still going on?
The roots of their conflict run deep. I doubt they will live in harmony anytime soon.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Magna Carta, Land of Cutscenes. I apologize if the beginning of the recording was screwed up. My capture card didn't want to keep up the speed, so hopefully that doesn't happen again as time goes on. And now that we have received our next mission, we're going to need to go out of the city once again. So we need to go to the city gate and pick up an axe so that we can start destroying some more lappers. Apparently these ones are tougher, so maybe they'll provide us with a little bit of a challenge, or so we can hope. Okay, so now that we're out on the field, we'll want to talk to this soldier here. And he has the axe that we need for Argo, which is the soldier's axe. And now that we have 2 different types of weapons for each character, they're going to go over weapon types and styles. So each character has 2 different weapons. Changing the type of equipped weapon has a major impact on attack motions and usable skills. So Argo, for example, can equip hammers and axes, and his different abilities are going to differ depending on which one you have equipped, and the same goes for each party member. So Zephie, for example, can only use healing spells when she uses rods, so that's something to keep into consideration. And when each character levels up, they have skill points that you can spend on their skill tree. And of course, the skill tree is used to buy abilities for whatever weapon type that you feel like using. And this tutorial is just going to go into a little bit more deep details. You can pause the video and read it if you'd like, but there's not a whole lot to it. This is basically buying skills off the tree, and we'll show you that here, just a little bit more in detail perhaps. So Juto has a one-handed sword and a two-handed sword. Of course, Argo has hammers and axes. Cressel has a fireball, which is just his magic, and he also has knuckles if he wants to use close quarter abilities, and Zephie uses rods and fans. So for most of these characters, I like to use the default weapon, so usually just the first weapon that you end up using. So for Juto, one-handed swords, Argo hammers, Cressel fireball, and for Zephie I like to use rods. And as we get more characters, we will be able to see what types of abilities they use as well. So if you bring up the different skill trees, you can see that the skill tree is a little bit different just depending on what weapon you feel like using. And you can just play around and see what ones you want to use. You can buy both one-handed swords and two-handed swords in stores, so they do give you an opportunity to use both depending on what your preference is. And you can use your skill points to level up the tree, and as you buy things on the tree, of course, it'll unlock the next tier. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. And you can also buy different levels of the skill in order to master it, which will make your skill more powerful. And at times it also decreases the amount of con that you have to have in order to use it. So just do your own reading up on the skill trees. They're pretty important, and you do get an achievement for mastering both skill trees for every single character, so I would recommend just picking one skill tree and sticking with it for one playthrough. You know, if you do plan on doing another one, and then maybe experimenting with the other weapon on the next playthrough, or whatever it is you want to do. That's kind of my recommendation, and I haven't really used the other weapons for some of the characters in a long while, so I can't really tell you a big, huge difference in between the two. I may, at times, switch out depending on the situation, if I'm fighting a certain type of enemy, or if I just want to change, you know, or whatever it is, but for the most part, I'll be sticking with one weapon type. Now, if my explanation was confusing, or, you know, I didn't explain it well enough, you can read your cube mail. There should also be tutorial mail. I did leave all that tutorial in, so you can pause the screen and look at it. And I do believe that if you were to look in the information and look at the tutorial review, you can look at all the tutorials we've had so far if there's something that I haven't explained well so far. I would like to continue on and go towards the port because we haven't been there before, but I realized just how much time all of those cutscenes took up, so I might just have to take a quick break here and continue on with the action in the next video. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time.